everyone here today to our monthly Pinal County Community College Governing Board meeting. And we are going to begin, after we've now called the meeting to order, by beginning with a Pledge of Allegiance. And anyone who might have veteran service is invited to render proper honors. I've invited Jack Yarrington. Almost got that wrong. Jack Yarrington to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for that. And again, we appreciate everyone being here with us today. Our next item on the agenda is call to the public, and there is one that has requested that opportunity, John Caravella from the Chamber. Just up here to the podium would be really good. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I want to thank you, first of all, for inviting me. And second of all, the main reason I'm here is to thank CAC for allowing the Chamber to use the facility. We use it for meetings, for our Board of Directors meetings, and also for our monthly get-together. So thank you very much. I'm also on the Board of Directors for the Chamber. So the Chamber knows how important education is. And I manage H&R Block offices here in Casa Grande, and we also believe in education. And we're offering courses now, just to get a commercial in here, we're offering courses now that are accredited, college accredited courses for the income tax course. So again, thank you for letting us use the facility. We sincerely appreciate it. You got a beautiful campus here. I was out at Coolidge, a beautiful campus there, and you certainly contribute to the community beyond words. Let's put it that way. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comment. Thank you for being here. We'll proceed now on the agenda items to the action items. First item is the consideration of the consent agenda. Number of items that are listed there, which will be approved with one motion, unless a member of the board wishes to extract any one or more of those at this time. Is there such a desire? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by saying nay? Motion carries unanimously. At this point in time, I'm going to just verify that Dr. Banks is able to understand and hear what's going on. Deborah, are we okay still?
Yes.
Very good.
And I did say aye, so it was embedded with your eyes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Next item is item number 8, policies for second reading and adoption. Brandy Clark.
Good afternoon, Governing Board President Gibson, Governing Board members, President Elliott, Mary Lou, staff, students, and guests. This afternoon, I present to you the second reading of the following new and revised policies: college travel expenses, nepotism, budget, student code of conduct, records management, retention and disposition, admissions and registration, and financial aid satisfactory progress statement. The creation of the new records management, retention, and disposition policy, as well as the revisions to the remaining policies, come as part of the college policy review project. Sorry, I feel like I'm getting a lot of feedback here. The second reading is for governing board consideration for adoption. I would be happy to entertain any questions and will ask the vice president over the policy area to speak to the policy in question as the subject matter expert.
Thank you very much. Are there questions from members of the board relative to the policies for second reading and adoption that would like to ask at this time? Hearing none, I would invite a motion to approve the policies listed under Section 8 for second reading and adoption.
I would make that motion that we approve the policies for the second reading of adoption.
I have a motion
Second?
and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Those in favor of the motion to approve the policies listed in Section 8 for second reading and adoption, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by saying nay? Motion carries unanimously. The policies listed in Section 8 are approved and adopted. And thank you for doing all of that hard work on those. We appreciate that. Next item is for information only, Section 9. Brandy, please.
Thank you. This afternoon, I present to you the first reading of the following new and revised policies: research and integrity, purchasing and contracts, intellectual property, architect and general contractor selection, copyright, and employee probationary period. The creation of the new architect and general contractor selection policy and the copyright policy, as well as the revisions to the remaining policies, again come as part of our policy review. This is the first reading and for governing board review only. And I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. Questions about Section 9 policies, first reading? Please.
Just about intellectual property. I know some of these are new policies. Has there been some discussion amongst the professors and staff for creating new material, authoring books, etc., that requires this, or are you being proactive?
In all honesty, we did not have this policy before we came, and we've actually had faculty that have written books previous to coming. So I would like to say we're being proactive, but it's a little reactive as well, and it's a policy we need for our accreditation. So that's why we have it.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We'll now proceed to reports. Item 10, Arizona Association of Community College Trustees report. Dr. Banks.
There are several things. The new bylaws are now completed, and there will be a review process. We're going to develop a plan for development of the trustees, and topics will be such as accreditation, what other state trustee groups are doing, etc. Then at the October meeting in New York City on October 26th in the morning, the Arizona trustees, our group, will sponsor a breakfast. And right now, they're looking for a speaker. And Dr. Elliott, please don't slam the phone down on me. I suggested that you would be the ideal speaker. So that's going to be discussed. And then we have some due problems. that the dues for this organization, the Arizona trustees, have not been paid, and it's $1,000. And then the national dues have not been paid, and I don't know what they are. But we need to pay both sets of and that's it.
Yes, thank you. Are there any questions so far for Dr. Banks?
Would you repeat what you just said? I had difficulty in hearing that.
Dr. Banks, would you just repeat that last part for us because we were having troubles hearing?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. There are two sets of dues that have to pay. One is for Arizona, which is $1,000. The other is for the national organization, and I don't have that amount.
When will we have that? Any idea?
Dr. Banks, this is Jackie. Sorry. Yes, we paid the national
Okay.
ACCT, and Mary Lou said, well, we'll check on the invoice for the Arizona one.
Okay, because I just found a copy of the that was supposed to be sent to you for this year, and what I'll do is scan it and send it to Mary Lou.
So does that mean that basically we're in good shape with both national and national and state?
Yes, we'll get
Well,
that invoice for
paperwork
the
hasn't
state.
gone
Yeah,
through.
yeah. And membership isn't required in the national,
Okay.
but for Dr. Banks and the Arizona, it is required for us to be members. So we'll look into that and get it taken care of.
It's only $1,000 for Arizona.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any questions? Very good. Next item on the agenda is report from Central Arizona College President, Dr. Jackie Elliott.
Thank you, President Gibson. Good afternoon and welcome, family, friends, guests, faculty, staff. Happy to have you here at our beautiful Maricopa campus this afternoon. A couple of things I want to highlight for the board is the college has entered into a partnership with Corazon Integrated Health Services for on-site personal counseling and mental health counseling at the Signal Peak campus for our students. We're at a test site. We're the first site for them to do this. A lot of kudos to Jenny and her team for reaching out and forging this partnership to help serve our students. We'll look at other campuses as we go through this pilot and continue to work with them. And Dr. Tremaine Russell was also very instrumental on Jenny's team in helping that happen. This is a great opportunity and much needed services for our students. So we're excited about that. Right now, community forums are taking place where I'm going around to the communities. I had Signal Peak community forum last week. I think it was last week or the week before. Went very well attended. This week I'll be at Santan and SMC for those community forums. So encourage people to come, sharing the college's strategic plan and then just answering any questions that the community might have. I felt like the one at Signal Peak was very well received, and we had some individuals that provided some suggestions that we've already kind of put into place. So I think those are going really well. As you've all read the newspaper of late, the college has been actively engaged with Lucid Motors just this week, and with Nikola, the other manufacturing company. So we'll see probably a lot more work from us on our end in support of those endeavors. And then I really wanted to highlight something. If you recall, we went into our SUNT partnership just a year ago. It seems like it's been longer, but a year ago. And it's a relatively new program, I would still say, but we were just named the 2017 Support Project of the Year recipient from SUNT Construction. And so I think that's a really huge honor, given that that program's only been in place 1 year. It's not very often that something you do and start up gets an award in its first year. So we're really proud of that. And the last thing in your board packet is a correspondence. And if you haven't had a chance to read it, please do. But it's from Lucy Everingham, really thanking us for the event, the ribbon cutting, and for us including her in that ceremony. And so we were really glad that she was able to show up. It was kind of a last minute opportunity for her to show up, and for Rick to invite her in to cut the ribbon was very meaningful to her, and she's very appreciative. And with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dr. Elliott?
I just have a comment about the Sun Construction. That is pinnacle of all the partnerships, and even Mr. Knable today, County Economic Development was mentioning that he brags about that a lot. So I just want to share that with the board and with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? I also would like to extend congratulations to the Central Arizona Community College family because of the very positive responses in the newspaper editorials and others about the use of the curriculum that was developed, I believe, to help train workers for Lucid, but has now been used for various other possible jobs. And I thought that was really good press, and we appreciate that very much. Good to see that. All right, business affairs, item number 12. Chris Vodka.
Thank you and good afternoon, Mr. Chair, governing board members, Madam President, Secretary, colleagues, and any guests in attendance. 2 items for information this afternoon. First is the review of the awarded bids, and then an ERP update. First on the awarded bids. First item is the annual licensing fees for CollegeNet Incorporated. CollegeNet Incorporated out of Portland, Oregon, in the amount of $42,000, and that is to purchase the annual service for this product, CollegeNet, for scheduling system for the district. Second item is software licensing fees for Oracle Corporation out of Redwood Shores, California, $34,093.31. And that is to renew the annual software license with Oracle. Next were software licensing fees for Banner, Eleusian, Fairfax, Virginia, $112,620. We do have to renew that license partially until we are completely off the Banner product. So that license will expire when we go completely live with the new system on January 1st. Licensing fees for Sophos, CCB Technology, Racine, Wisconsin, $38,645.60. That is the annual renewal license fees for our Sophos software. Next item is the 2019 Ford Transit Cargo Van, Sanderson Ford out of Glendale, Arizona, $29,561.70, and that is to purchase a new vehicle that will be used by the IT department to use district-wide. Next item is licensing fees for Partner Premier Service to purchase software maintenance renewal for the district, and that is Solutions Video Conferencing Incorporated, Los Angeles, California, $35,212. And the last one is resurface the turf on the track field, Field Turf USA Incorporated out of Calhoun, Georgia, $422,134, and that is to resurface our track that'll be completed before the season starts. Any questions on any of these bids over 20,000?
Are there any questions relative to the bids just listed? Thank you.
Okay, and the last item is a monthly update on the ERP system. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have. Nothing really changed from last month on this. We're still configuring and testing and so forth to go for the go live date on the human resource, finance, payroll part of the system on January 1st. With that, that concludes my report.
Any further questions for Mr. Wadka? Thank you very much. We appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Next item is item 13, monitoring reports. Dr. Jenny Cardenas.
It's the wrong PowerPoint. All right. So good afternoon, President Gibson, Governing Board, Dr. Elliott, colleagues, students, and guests. Thank you again for having me to present on the monitoring reports for this month. You can go to the next slide. So we're finishing up outcome number 1, which is student success, and we've discussed already some of the different retention, persistent, and completion goals that we've had, or outcomes that we've had in the past. And the 3 that we're going to focus on today are related to degree and certificates awarded, our transfer rates, and then the ABE GED enrollment in college. So Dr. Gilliland was unable to be here today, so I will present on the ABE and GED, and hopefully if I have some questions, maybe Dr. Atterbury in the audience can help out with those, if you have any questions. So to start with, the first is 1.5, which is the degree and certificates. And this is one method of providing evidence through the number of degrees and certificates that are awarded over the years. So the board has selected a target for us of 1,200 degrees and certificates awarded. And as you can see, I know it's kind of small over there, but as you can see, the Arizona Rural Community Colleges rate at this point is at 1,143 is the average, and CAC as of this past, as of 2015-16 is at 1,272. So we have surpassed the goal of 1,200 and seem to have done so over the last couple years. So we're continuing, even as enrollment has seen slight declines, we've continued to award additional certificates and degrees each year in excess of the previous year. So that's great news, definitely connected to retention, persistence, and completion. For 1.6, the transfer rate, another way that we measure students' completion and transfer is really in looking at the number of students who are transferring to our four-year institutions, throughout the state and even nationally. The board had set a target of 50% transfer rates, and that was selected for the 2018 to 2021 strategic plan. And the target, as I said, was set at 50%. We've consistently remained at about 30%, which is higher than both the state and also the national trends when it comes to transfer rates. So although we are above the state rural community colleges and the national rates, we still do have work to do to get to that 50%. And we have many things that I'll talk about towards the end of the presentation that will be in place to help to achieve that goal as well. And the final of the 3 is our adult basic education, which is ABE, and our general equivalency diploma, which is the GED, and looking at the number of graduates who have enrolled at CAC. So in 2017, the board set a target of 675 graduates. And if you take a look at the chart here, it shows that CAC has well surpassed the Arizona Rural Community College average, which is in the 300s. And last year, I'm sorry, in 2015-16, we had 663 students. And then this past year, we had 621 students. And I do want to point out that there were some significant changes that were made in the state with regard to the GED test. And that was the changes were between the 2016 and 17 year, moving to a completely computerized test, which in the past there was a written test, Janie, solely or in addition to computerized? Was solely, and it is solely computerized now. So that was one big change, but also the addition of an increased cost to the students who were taking the test. And again, these were changes that were made not by the college, but were made by the state that might have impacted those numbers slightly. So again, still much higher than the Arizona Rural Community Colleges, but we did see a slight decline when those changes were made. So kind of looking at all three of the different things together, I'm going to talk about the recent improvements that we've made for those areas and then focus on the planned improvements that we have for those three areas. So with recent improvements, some of them you'll notice are consistent with recent improvements that we've made connected to other retention and persistence data that we've seen. So the removal of the graduation fee, we think certainly will help us this coming year to increase the number of certificates and degrees that students are being awarded. Our graduation application is online, as well as a degree audit that's available online for our students. We now have assigned academic and financial aid advisors for each student, and I'll talk about a recent improvement, or I'm sorry, a planned improvement that'll come connected to that. But our students are assigned as they go into their student portal. They can see who their financial aid advisor is and who their academic advisor is. Our certificates and degrees are identified at the point of admission, and we've really had to focus with the implementation of the Nexus system on ensuring that when students come in, they're identifying the correct program of study from the beginning, because the courses that they see within their portal that are available for them to take and in their degree audit are directly related to the program that they've selected. So it helps us to really, from day one, help students to stay on path, to first get on path and then stay on path towards completion. Let's see. Our degree evaluations and applications and some of the documents that students complete are now available not only for them to see in the student portal, but for their advisors to see, or for anyone who's assisting them to see kind of what they've submitted, where they are in their program, so they're able to view the same documents. We've talked a little bit before about the co-requisite model of with developmental education and allowing students to take courses that are developmental courses at the same time that they're taking some of their college level courses to assist with completion. And the last two are actually a reduction in both the number of degrees and certificates that we have available. And we've heard Dr. Elliott and others talk over the last year or so about really fine-tuning the different degrees and certificates that we have and helping students, as I said, to get on course and stay on course. And a reduction in the number of credits within those certificates and degrees so that they are stackable credentials where a student could earn certificates at the 18 credit mark, the 30 credit mark, and then the 60 credit mark, depending on what they're working on achieving. So those are things that we've already done recently that we think will help to improve these numbers even for next year. And the planned improvements that we had looking forward, to start with focusing on the GED exam that we had talked about and some of the changes that we had seen, is really looking at what are alternative GED exam testing opportunities for our students. And then exploring GED testing scholarships. Do we have a way to be able to scholarship the test for a student to be able to take to help to increase those numbers of completion and then enrollment at the college? We are focused on implementing a mandatory new student orientation. We've had discussions of it in the past, but it hasn't been a set mandatory. If you are degree seeking, you will do this. We know that the data has shown that for students who attend new student orientation, the chances of success are higher. So we feel that it's important that it won't be an obstacle to them completing college. It'll actually be something that will help them to do so. And along with that is re-implementing and re-looking at a first-year experience course. So for our students that are coming in who need assistance throughout that first year, that first semester, having that available to them. When I mentioned assigned advising, the assigned advising that we currently are doing is kind of a round robin assigning. So if you're on the Maricopa campus, you know that you're probably going to see John or you'll see Megan as your advisor. But what we're focused on in the future is looking at what are our areas of interest, or what are our guided pathways, kind of pathways that students can choose from, and actually having the advisors connected to those pathways. So if a student has identified, I'm interested in associative business, they would have an advisor from within that area who's very familiar with that subject and that program to be able to assist them. So kind of fine-tuning how we're placing students and the services that we're providing. We've just started talking about having embedded advisors and registration staff within those divisions. So for instance, in the nursing division or in early care and education or whatever it might be, both the advisors and registration staff could be able to assist students there in the department. It doesn't mean that we no longer have registration or advising out front in student services, but it means we meet the students where they are. If they're coming into an academic department or division and wanting to talk with the professionals about their career, they wouldn't necessarily have to travel then to student services to take care of those different things. They can go through some of the registration and advising process there. So those are discussions that we're having, again, really looking at how we're serving students from their perspective opposed to historically the way that community colleges have functioned. We are looking at a reverse transfer program, so many of our students transfer on to universities and complete their bachelor's degrees without completing a degree with us. So there are some programs throughout the state and nationally where we can look at transferring those credits back to CAC and awarding the associate's degree for a student in addition to the baccalaureate degree that they might have already achieved. Definitely expanding our university partnerships with ASU, U of A, NAU, potentially GCU, and increasing the number of 2+2, 90-30 programs and pathways to four-year programs. And then a couple that we've discussed before, but I definitely have to explain, or not explain them, but bring them up again related to guided pathways that we're still continuing to focus on. The changes in our developmental education program focusing on math, and also continuing to streamline our program and course offerings and ensuring that we're offering the types of courses and programs that both meet the needs of our students but also the needs of business and industry in our community. So that was a lot today, but this, as you can see, is a huge focus for the college, and we've got a lot of things both happening and also planned to happen in the coming years. So I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Any questions for Dr. Carden?
Yes. Dr. Cardenas, this is Deborah Banks. Anyway, on chart 1.5, your number of degrees and certificates for rural colleges, how did you come up with that number? Is that an average or a median?
That's actually a number that, oh, would you like to?
Go ahead.
Okay. That's a number that came from the Arizona Vision Report, and that's also the reason that you'll see that the last data that we have was from 2015-16. As we've indicated in past reports, we want to make sure that as we're sharing the information with the community and with the governing board that we have comparative data from throughout the state. So this comes from a statewide report that provides this information for us.
But you're not answering my question. Is it mean or median?
Deborah, this is Jackie. I'll answer that because I work with Sylvia and do all the data. So that is the average number of all the rural community colleges.
Okay. And then for the transfer target rate, 50% is going to be impossible to achieve. I don't recall, and maybe I'm forgetting something, but I don't recall us having a discussion on setting this 50% rate.
Dr. Banks, this is Jackie. This one, if you'll notice on the graph, it's got an SP behind the target, and that is an indicator that it was developed by the Strategic Planning Committee, and they selected that target. So if there's not an SP behind any one of your monitoring reports, those are ones that you as the board have set, but this one was set by the Strategic Planning Committee, And when it was brought to the board at a board meeting, you guys approved the new strategic plan, and thus ultimately, subsequently approving the targets set by the strategic planning committee. Granted, they might have, they're very optimistic people.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be creating noise here. Okay, and then going to the last page, first, with recent improvements, I'm losing something here. Under recent improvements, next to the last, the reduction in number of certificates and degrees. Why?
I actually did see that, Dr. Banks. This was a notation that Dr. Gilliland had added, and on my notes I added an additional word, and I wish that I would have caught that first. It's actually a reduction in the number of certificates and degree programs, or certificates and degrees that we offer. So these are the programs that are offered, different from outcome 1.5 that talks about the degrees and certificates awarded. So we want to continue to increase the number of degrees and certificates that we award while reducing the number of overall certificates and degree programs that we offer. Does that help to clarify?
No, totally lost.
Deborah, if I may jump in here quickly, I think what you're asking is the logical question of why would we want to reduce certificates and degrees if we're trying to increase certificates and degrees? And I'll try to answer that. Ultimately, when I first arrived here, we had 149 certificates and degrees, which is way too many for an institution our size. We really probably should have around 60. And what we were seeing is we were having, some of these certificates were having an enrollment of 1 or 2 students in them and no completers. And so we're really looking at what programs, what should we have, what certificates should we have, how can we stack them so that we can award more certificates and degrees. But we had, many of them did not have completers. There were students maybe enrolled in them, 3 or 4. And so essentially when, it's kind of that old adage, when you have more things for people to offer from, you've saturated yourselves, and you've saturated your student enrollment. And so that's kind of what we're trying to get to, is right sizing our certificates and programs so we can enroll more students and have more completers.
May I make a suggestion? Can this be rewritten somehow? Because if I'm confused, I'm sure a lot of people are be confused, and I hear what you're saying. And somebody reading it quickly are going to say, whoa, wait a minute, what are they trying to do here?
Good suggestion. Thank you. We can do that.
Okay. And then under plan improvements, great big compliment, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Assigned advisor based on program. I love that. I think our students, particularly those that are transitioning from developmental courses into academic courses, or those coming into an academic course and really don't need a developmental course, but they're weak in the academic course, they really need strong advising.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from members of the board? Please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You had mentioned in both the recent improvements and I think plan improvements, our ERP program, making that connection. So am I to understand that first the the program is positively impacting the student success rate? Or do you anticipate that? And is it paying off now?
I think that it's definitely been a difficult few months for us to really take a look at our processes, and we've had discussions about not wanting to change what we're doing based on what the system can provide, but really taking a look at what we're doing and making changes that are better for our students. It certainly is a robust system. It's something that's brand new to us. In many ways, there have been additional steps that staff have had to take, so it definitely has had a component of frustration in just ironing out the wrinkles and trying to move forward. I think we've kind of hit the peak and are starting to really see a lot of the positives out of the program as well, or out of the system as well. The types of things that we will be and are already able to do and the changes that we've made, I think will be extremely positive. We're continuously making changes now to the student portal, to the way that we're processing. So I definitely have to say that, as you know, with implementing any new system, there have certainly been challenges that have been frustrating, but we see some very positive things. And I think there will be, the type of communication that we can have with our students that's so much more targeted, the visibility of being able to see a degree audit when it's functioning the way that we are envisioning that it will be functioning. The availability of registration for students, again, once the process have been ironed out, I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and knowing this has been a positive change for the college and has really forced us to make some positive changes in the way that we serve our students. But there have been some frustrating moments for sure.
But I do remember, I think early on when we were listing all the positives that we expected, one was being able to do the mundane routine behind the scenes, kind of automatically,
Right.
so that you could spend more time with the students
Right.
and help them move through their student career.
Mm-hmm. And I think we still have many of those automated processes. It's definitely a chore to build out those type of processes. But again, it's helped us to look at every step along the way and be able to make some modifications. So we've already seen some of the automation, taking place behind the scenes. It's been very positive, and we anticipate that there will be much more down the road.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm intrigued with I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
I'm intrigued with this concept of the 2+2, and being a product of that, I'm always anxious to see what the continued health of that might be. And certainly we've talked today about those who have taken 1 or 2 years here at Central Arizona College and then complete their Bachelor's of Science at another institution. The other piece of that is for those who are able to find a partnership with another university that provides the classes on campus so that they can continue to live at home, work at home. Do you see any change in that concept? Has there been any positive benefits that may have been added to, or the idea of the 2+2? Is that changing at all, the 2+2, or is it just continuing to be our mainstay?
I think Dr. Gilliland sure would have been a better person to answer the question, in that she's really at the forefront of having discussions with those partnerships. But I will say that we have seen some changes from the universities in the number of courses that they offer on campus opposed to online. Many have shifted to online offerings for our students. But I think just as we're working on guided pathways to really narrow the amount of programs that students are working into, we're able to also really fine-tune those university partnerships and really look at where the biggest need, both again for our students and also for the job market, are, and can start to fine-tune those. We have many partnerships with different colleges and universities throughout the nation, but really, as we said, narrowing things down and starting to look at exactly those programs that you're talking about that fit very well with our current academic programs is I think where we're headed. And I think Dr. Elliott wants to add to it.
Yeah, if I may add, one of our strategic goals is an increase four-year partnership opportunity, or 4-year opportunities for our students. So obviously we definitely will be looking at increasing 2+2 partnerships, where the students can, stay here and finish their bachelor's degree without having to leave. So I know that that's kind of one of the strategies, is to increase those.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
you.
that. Very good. I believe that completes our agenda. Our next board meeting is October 16th at the Signal Peak campus, and I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here.